let's move on for frequency domain analysis of this signal. So in the frequency domain, let's see how to represent the message first, then we will see how to represent the carrier, and finally we will represent the AM signal. So first thing what we considered some arbitrary message M of t. Message could be anything. M of t was the message. We didn't specify what signal it is, right? M of t was supposed to be the message. And please understand this. For any message signal, it will have a limited band of frequencies. No message signal will extend up to infinity. It will surely have a limited band of frequencies. For example, if I consider audio frequency signal, it will range almost from 0 to 20k, or if you talk ideally 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Yes or no? 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I am trying to represent an audio signal in the frequency domain. This is the amplitude of the signal and this is the frequency. Similarly, if I try to represent a voice signal, what is the range for a voice signal? A voice signal will approximately be somewhere here 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz or 3.4 kilohertz. So the voice signal will somewhere lie in the range 300 hertz to 3.4. So basically any information signal, if we try to represent it in the frequency domain, it will look like a band of frequencies, because the voice frequencies can range anywhere from 300 to 3.4, or the audio frequency range, if I try to include all sounds and instruments, everything, it can lie from 220 hertz to 20 kilohertz, right? So this complete range of frequencies, anywhere the signal can be. But please remember one thing, the amplitude, will it remain constant at all frequencies? Here we have shown a constant amplitude at all frequencies. Do you think this can be possible practically? Can the amplitude remain the same at all the frequencies of the information signal? Why not? Yes, no, sure, Lakshmikant. Can you tell me why? Why the amplitudes will not remain the same? See, even now when we are speaking, say the female voice has what? A higher frequency than the male voice, and female voices are heard much loudly than a male voice, not just because of the frequency component, but it also depends on how much power you throw into your voice, right? So, and some frequencies are very shrill. A whistle, it can be very shrill and its frequency will be high, right? And some things would not be, it's not because of environment and disturbances. The simple reason is, usually the lower frequencies should carry more power as compared to the high frequencies. Basically, any information signal, if you try to represent, whether it is voice, whether it is video, whatever information signal you are trying to represent, the low frequencies will be having more power than high frequencies. And usually, if I talk of a practical distribution, the practical distribution will be something like this. It is an exponential fall like this. It will have low frequencies or zero frequencies, the power level or amplitude level will be much higher. As we go on to the high frequencies, it will fall. Actually, you will see this much more clearly when we go to the next example of many sine waves. But in practice, we are going to consider this as a triangular distribution. So, since we know that any natural information bearing signal will have higher amplitudes at low frequencies, and as it goes to high frequencies, it will have lower amplitudes. Any information signal will be having a standard representation which we are going to use. We can write it like this with a rectangular way, but this is an ideal signal. Basically, an ideal signal is one which will have same amplitude at all frequencies, but a practical signal will not have same amplitude at all frequencies. It will have high amplitudes at lower frequencies and low amplitudes at high frequencies. So this is the standard representation of any message signal which we write it. So if I say m of t is the time domain representation of the message, the frequency domain representation, remember, we will call it as m of f, right? If I say these two are Fourier transform pairs, m of t and m of f are Fourier transform pairs. And one more thing you should remember, whenever we apply Fourier transform on a signal like this, what usually happens? What would happen after application of Fourier transform? You will see this amplitude will reduce and you will see negative frequencies will also come into picture. So if I had the amplitude as 1 there, this amplitude becomes lesser, 0.5. So after applying Fourier transforms, the actual message signal will be represented like this. It will have what? Amplitude variations varying from 0 to, this is one upper cutoff frequency W. So W is the, let's say, I'll call it highest frequency in the message. So what is this W? Please remember, this is not omega, don't get confused. This W, that's why I'm representing like this. Omega, we'll write it like this, okay? So this W represents the highest frequency component which is present in the given message signal. I told you the message signal can be anything, audio, video, whatever. And when we apply Fourier transform, this spectrum of the message, the frequency domain representation, which was on one side, gets shifted to two sides. So it will vary between minus W to plus W. All negative frequencies will come into picture. This is mainly due to application of Fourier transform. Because of applying Fourier transform, all this will come into picture. Okay, please remember that. So please remember this one which we have written in the end is the standard representation for frequency spectrum of any arbitrary message. So when I consider any message signal in the form m of t, I don't specify what, it is a band limited message. We call this as, and please remember all messages will be band limited only. In the sense they will always have a highest frequency component. It will be limited. I can't extend a message from 0 to infinity. Then such a message would be very difficult to send. Imagine one message itself will occupy all frequencies from 0 to infinity. How can I send multiple messages? It would be quite difficult, okay, to adjust in a given bandwidth. There are many other issues. So all messages which exist in nature have a finite upper frequency component, and that region from here to here will be the bandwidth of this message signal. And due to application of Fourier transforms, negative frequency will come into picture and this amplitude will become half. So you will have, generally whenever we write the spectrum of a message, you will represent it with a triangle wave from minus W to plus W like this. Is this clear? So please remember all these things. And the second thing is, next, how to represent the spectrum of the carrier. So here, what was the carrier? The carrier signal we considered as AC cos 2 pi FCT. Correct. So this was the carrier signal. If I have to find C of F, say I want to find C of F, which is after applying Fourier transform to this C of t. You should apply Fourier transform to the right hand side also. What will we get? Do you remember what is the Fourier transform of cos 2 pi FCT? I'll keep this constant AC as it is. What's the Fourier transform equation? I told you we will recall this in every class. Please remember. So we would write cos 2 pi FCT when we wrote it as e power j2 pi FCT plus e power minus j2 pi FCT by 2. Yes or no? And then we found the Fourier transform when we did it. E power plus j2 pi FCT is represented as delta f minus FC. If you remember, the Fourier transform of this exponential is delta, it's a rising exponential, positive, is delta f minus FC, and the Fourier transform of this falling exponential was given as delta f plus FC. And this by 2, I have taken it outside. Hope all of you recall, we have derived this clearly and I've given you the equation also. So the Fourier transform equation for a carrier is AC by 2 into delta F minus FC plus delta F plus FC. Okay, please remember this always. Whenever you have a cosine, if I ask you to write the Fourier transform equation, you will directly represent it like this. Okay, so can we draw the spectrum of this carrier? How will the spectrum of this carrier look? How should it look? This is 0. This is the magnitude or amplitude. Now I have two frequency components. The first one is at plus Fc and the second one will be present at minus Fc. And what does delta represent? It's just an impulse. Delta is an impulse, so I'll just draw two impulses here. And remember, both have a common magnitude. What is the magnitude of these two impulses? It should be AC by 2. So the magnitude of both the impulses should be AC by 2. One is a impulse existing at plus Fc, the other is the impulse existing at minus Fc. This is the representation of the carrier spectrum. Okay. So we saw the message spectrum, we saw the carrier spectrum. Now lastly, let us write the spectrum of AM signal. So what was AM of t? Please tell me the equation for AM signal. Morning we derived AC into the standard equation. I told you, you should remember this. AC into 1 plus Ka m of t cos 2 by FCT. This was the equation for AM signal which we derived in the morning. We are taking back the same equation and I am trying to find EAM of F. In the sense, I want to apply Fourier transform to this and find it. So for that, I'll just, since I have terms within brackets, let me multiply. I'll say Fourier transform of AC into 1 into cos 2 by FCT. So the first term becomes AC cos 2 by FCT and the second term becomes KAAC m of t into cos 2 by FCT. Okay. Is this clear? So I'm just considering the standard AM equation which we derived in the morning. This was the equation for AM, the standard AM. And what am I doing now? I'm just multiplying all the terms because I want it split so that I can apply Fourier transform individually. Now, What is the Fourier transform of AC cos 2 pi FCT? Just now we did. What was it? What's the Fourier transform equation of AC cos 2 pi FCT? It is AC by 2 delta F minus FC plus delta F plus FC. That's all. So the Fourier transform for the first equation is half of, whenever I have a cosine, it is half sum of two impulses. One right shifted to plus Fc, another left shifted to minus Fc. So please remember, a cosine always translates to this Fourier transform. Next, here Ka is a constant, AC is a constant, so I'll keep the constants as it is. But here I have two terms, m of t into cos 2 pi FCT. So remember, a product operation in the time domain will be converted to what? A product in time domain becomes what in the frequency domain? I told you the other day. Yes?
Convolution.
Yes. It becomes convolution operation. So here, sorry. Okay. So I have to replace this product operation with a convolution operation. And I know m of t in the time domain is represented with m of f in the frequency domain. And what is cos 2 pi FCT represented in the frequency domain as? Half delta F minus Fc plus delta F plus Fc. Correct. So, just observe carefully here. This is the basis of how we will analyze many complex equations. Please understand this concept. Wherever you have constants, you take the constants and place them directly without any change. KAAC, I am keeping it as it is. Here I have two functions. One is m of t, the other is cos 2 pi FCT. So when I have product of two functions, this is a product operation. You see this dot, okay? It's a product operation or a multiplication. A multiplication in time domain will get converted to convolution in the frequency domain. So now I'll take the individual Fourier transforms of the two signals. M of t will become m of f and cos 2 pi FCT will become half delta F minus Fc plus delta F plus Fc. We have done that so many times now. So this will be our equation for Fourier transform, which we can simplify further. So let's come here. AC by 2 delta F minus Fc plus delta F plus Fc. No change in this part. This remains as it is, the first part. Whereas in the second part, do you remember what property do we use when I convolve any function with some other impulse function? Convolution of any function with an impulse. This half I can put it outside. So this half I am taking it outside, KAAC by 2. Convolution of any function with the impulse function will always result in the same function existing where the impulse exists. We call that as the sampling property or replication property. Anyway, the convolution of, let me just say it is replication property. What is happening here is, when you convolve any impulse function with any other function, that function will exist where the impulse existed. So this function gets shifted to the point where impulse existed. That is, this impulse existed at Fc. So this function m of f will get shifted to that point Fc. So I can just say m of f. Please remember this, or you write it in quotes here. because m of f convolved with what? Delta f minus fc can be written as m of f minus fc, or we can also simply write it as m of fc, but we prefer writing it like this because it will, I'll write it as m of fc if I had considered the original signal, if I had considered this signal as m of 0, because this message existed at 0, then some message which exists at fc, I can call it as m of fc, right? So since we called this as m of f, we'll call this as m of f minus fc. Okay? And please remember, when will I get m of f minus fc? Whenever I convolve m of f with a what? Right shifted impulse delta f minus fc. Please understand this. Okay? So, I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, please ask. Don't carry doubts. And the second component here is again m of f convolved with delta f plus fc. That will become m of f plus fc. Okay. So the first component, m of f convolved with delta f minus fc, the first term becomes m of f minus fc, and m of f convolved with the second term delta f plus fc will become m of f plus fc. So this is your final spectrum. Okay, so this is the final spectrum of the AM signal. Let me call this as equation A. Okay, now let us try to draw this spectrum. So since this is the final spectrum, how do you represent this as a waveform in the frequency domain? So let's come. I'll show you all the three so that you will understand with clarity what is happening. Let me draw everything in the frequency domain. First is the message. So we represented the message like this. It is a triangular signal which exists between minus W to plus W. This was our message, and this was the spectrum of the message. The next component which we need to show is the spectrum of the carrier, C of F. Remember, Fc is a larger, much larger frequency when compared to W. W would be the basic information signal will have highest frequency component, much less than carrier. That's why we do modulation. We shift the baseband voice signal to a high frequency signal so that it can travel a longer distance, right? So now you remember how the cosine wave in the carrier was represented. It was one impulse delta f minus fc, another impulse delta f plus fc, and both these signals had amplitude as AC by 2. Is this clear? So in comparison, how does it look? You understand this, it would be easier. Now comes the, sorry, this is not becoming a straight line. The final AM signal. So how will this AM signal look? Look at this equation. I hope you are able to see the equation. Okay. Little bit. Yeah, this equation is visible. So let me say, what is the first part of this equation? What does this represent? An impulse at plus Fc. I have plus Fc. I have an impulse. What is the amplitude of the impulse? It is AC by 2. And so I have completed this. Next, I should draw this. For F delta F plus Fc, I should come to the negative frequency here and draw an impulse of amplitude AC by 2. See, this as well as this, both impulses have magnitude or amplitude as AC by 2. And remember, This is your AM signal spectrum. We are drawing EAM of F, which is represented by this equation, EAM of F. The first two parts I have drawn, two impulses, one at plus Fc, the other at minus Fc. Next, what should I draw? M of F minus Fc. How will that look? It is nothing but your original message M of F, which was present at 0, is now getting shifted to the center frequency. So from 0, it will get shifted to center frequency as plus Fc. So all you have to do is, you just have to draw this triangle which was centered at 0 to now be centered at Fc. If this is Fc, from 0 to highest point was W, this will become Fc plus W, and this point will now become Fc minus W. So please remember, M of F minus Fc will be very easily represented as a shifted version of the baseband message signal. So this is baseband because its frequency includes 0 and lower frequencies, whereas this signal is now in the band pass region because it is somewhere close to carrier frequency. Here it is the baseband, here it is band pass. Understand the terms. Here we call the same message signal as a band pass signal because it has Fc as one of its frequencies, a high frequency. And if I use a band pass filter, I can filter out this whole signal. If I just apply, I'll show you. If I just apply a band pass filter like this, I'll be able to take out the whole AM signal. Whereas here it is baseband signal because it includes the frequency 0. When 0 is part of any signal or low frequencies, it is a baseband. Here it is band pass. And one more nice thing what you notice, here I had a part of this message spectrum lying in the negative frequency band. We said negative frequencies are insignificant, they don't exist. But with modulation, you see this frequency which was not visible, which was not useful, has now shifted to a positive side. It is now ranging from Fc minus W to Fc, and this will surely be useful. This also will be transmitted. When I transmit the AM signal, I will transmit completely this range from Fc minus W to Fc plus W, which will include a bandwidth. We call this as bandwidth. The range of frequencies from minimum to maximum is known as bandwidth. So how do I find the bandwidth? You just have to subtract the lowest value from the highest value. So highest value of frequency was Fc plus W. From that you subtract the lowest value. Whatever you will get, that is your bandwidth. Okay. So look at the beauty of this. We had a component which was in the non-visible or negative frequency range here. This was not useful, but it has shifted to the positive or useful frequency range because of modulation. And our bandwidth, if I talk about bandwidth of this message signal, the bandwidth of the message signal is just W. The actual message signal will range only from 0 to W. So the bandwidth of this signal is just W, but after modulation, the bandwidth doubles. It becomes 2W. Is that clear? So this is how we represent M of F minus Fc. Similarly, if I have to represent M of F plus Fc, I have to come to this minus Fc and I have to shift this message signal to this point. So what would this point correspond to? It would be minus Fc plus W, and this point would become minus Fc minus W. Okay. So this is how the modulation changes the spectrum of the message. So this is the basic message spectrum. This is the spectrum of the carrier. It has only 2 impulses, whereas the spectrum of the modulated signal will have 3 important components. So what are those 3 important components? Let's see. So one second. You see this side and this side. They are known as, I think the meeting will end in a short time. These two are called the upper sideband or USB. This as well as this is known as the upper sideband. It is that range of frequencies which exists after FC. So all frequencies after FC in the AM signal, this whole thing constitutes the AM signal. So all that range of frequencies which is present after FC is called upper sideband, and the range of frequencies which is present what? Below FC. This range of frequencies is called lower sideband